Hi, everyone. My name is Allie. For those of you who don't know me, I am the creator of Sacred Woman Healing. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a healer. And so many times since becoming an author, and even before, people have asked me how I started my healing journey. And I always answer the same answer. Oh, I went through the twin flame journey. I've never really expounded on that, what it is, how it happened, or anything like that. So, since I always get asked, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about that today. So, my twin flame journey started in May of 2017. And before that, I was kind of in the thick of my abuse. I had gone through three really abusive relationships. I don't even think I would call the last one a relationship, it was just a happenstance. He kind of moved into my home and I couldn't get rid of him. Um, so the first one was with my older kid's father. He he would abuse me. He would punch me in the face. He would throw me against the wall. I was driving in my car one day. I had a little RAV4. It was so cute. I loved it. My grandpa used to say it looked like a pregnant skate, pregnant roller skate. Um, and I was driving down Academy here in Colorado Springs, and he just started punching me in my face while I was driving. And I always tell everybody that I saw stars when I was driving. Like, I recoiled, and I literally did see stars in my vision. And I am amazed to this day that I was able to stay straight on the road and not wreck my car. Um, but that's kind of when it started. He pushed me into his closet in his bedroom where we were living with his mother, and then I retaliated by going to hit him back in front of his mom because he had just finished abusing me and walked out of the bedroom like everything was fine. And she blamed me for the incident. She was just like, she called out my name like excitedly, like, "What are you doing?" After I had just finished being abused, it was my fault because I hit him. Um, but he actually did end up wrecking that RAV4. He was driving without a driver's license, and I was 18, and I think I had just turned 18 and he was 17. His sister bought us alcohol, and I knew that I was drunk, and he was like, "No, I'm not drunk." And I wanted to go check on my mom, who was pregnant at the time. And so he's like, "I'm not drunk at all." So he drove me to my mom's house and drove me back. And right on the same street that we were living on with his mom, he started um, beating me in the car while he was driving. And he would hit me up against this side of my head. And then this side of my head was hitting the seat belt and the window. And he had hit me like 7 or 8 times before he wrecked my car, and he completely totaled my car that my grandparents had got me, and he drove it into a tree. And I was knocked out cold. Um, I don't remember. I don't remember him hitting me. I kind of remember flying against the car window and then kind of bouncing back. And that's the only thing I remember, because the next I remember, I was laying in the middle of the street. The ambulance and cops were all around me. I was in the middle of a bunch of people and I was terrified. I didn't know. I was very naive when I was growing up and very sheltered from a lot of things. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I had been unconscious for I don't know how long. Everybody was surrounding me. So it was probably a good long while, I would say. Like, his mom was there, his sister was there. I don't know if his dad was there or not. But I had just come to, and I saw all the lights and the sirens and everything going off around me. And I sat straight up and I was like, "I gotta go home. I gotta go home." And they pushed me down and they're like, "You're not going anywhere." and, and then I was like, "How am I supposed to hide this from my grandpa? I'm gonna be in so much trouble." But That was quite a night, and that's when my abuse really started. He told me to tell the police that I was driving, and I did. And it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, maybe like 1 o'clock. It was really late. And I guess there was a neighbor who pulled me out of the car on the passenger side. In my head, I can still feel it, but I have like a knot in my head right here where my head hit the windshield and my face was completely burned. Um, and the cop, I guess the neighbor told the cop that I wasn't driving because I told the cop that I was driving and I was extremely intoxicated. Thankfully, the neighbor saved me from that because I could have been in a lot of trouble. And he got in a lot of trouble. He was driving without a license, which he told me he had a license. And I guess I never really knew the difference when I was younger between an ID and a license, like it says it on there, because I was like, "Oh yeah, he has one," and he didn't. He had a ID, and I never realized it. And then so the cop didn't believe me. He's like, "You weren't driving that car, and I'm not stupid. So you really want to tell me what's going on?" And I was like, "No, I was driving. I promise." And I was completely naive. And finally, he did tell the cops that he was driving because I guess one of the cops was like, "Dude, we know you were driving because her injuries match the passenger side of the windshield where she hit it with her head." So he finally did confess that he was driving. And like a lot of girls that are young and don't know what they're doing, I went and dropped all the charges. Um, and he got off completely free. Nothing happened to him. And then it continued that way for a long time. And he used to laugh and joke with his friends that he he gave me a really good right hook to my face one day, and I would be sitting there, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I gave her a really good one," and I would have to be sitting there and be subjected to that. Um, it was really really bad. And then my second abusive relationship, he actually body slammed me on my head while I was in the early stages of pregnancy with my third child. He choked me up against a door. He slashed my tires when I had a friend over after we broke up. He was still he was still using me and to get what he wanted from me. And I was buying him groceries while he was sleeping with another girl while I was pregnant. Everything. He sat me down for a good 2 hours trying to convince me to have an abortion with my fourth child, and I flat out refused because I don't necessarily believe in them for myself. Um, I believe that would be a whole nother wound to heal. Um, but then he told me how I would be alone and he would never help me. And he's been true to his word, except that he did take me to court after my first one took me to court, and they were just trying to further their abuse on me um, by using my children as weapons. And the first one did succeed in taking my kids away from me because I was completely ignorant of everything. I didn't know what I was doing in the courts. I was completely at a loss. I was stunned. I was shocked. I was hurt. There were so many emotions going through me at the time. And um, we weren't even in the correct court. Um, he lived in Pueblo, Colorado, and I didn't, and neither did my children. But the judge was like, "No, I have jurisdiction," which she didn't because the kids are from here. So wherever the kids are from, that county has jurisdiction. So it was heard in the wrong court. And it was just an extremely weird case all the way around. So May 2017 rolled around and I was lost. I had started journaling, had a miscarriage in 2016 from my second abuser who swore up and down that it was not his, that I was lying and everything. Um, so I had to go and I was shoveling snow by myself, really deep Colorado snow by myself to try and get to work. And I had miscarried the next day. And So I was learning how to I was trying to cope with that, and I started journaling in my journal, which is the only thing I knew. I was scribbling furiously every day at work. Um, and it was just pouring out of me all these years of neglect and abuse that I had gone through from 17 to uh, up until that time. I think I was just turning 30. Um, but all of it just came pouring out of me. My childhood trauma, everything was just there, coming out in my journal, and is such a good release. I didn't know necessarily what I was doing other than I was angry. I was angry and I was mad and I was sad and I was traumatized, and all this emotion and trauma just came pouring out of me. And I didn't know what else to do with it. It was just pent up for so long, and it finally just came out in my journal. And I think I have like 3 or 4 journals from that time that I've just poured everything into. But so May 2017 rolls around and I am working out in the gym, and I was on Match, the dating site, and this guy started messaging me, and he was really cute, and it was really weird. We did like this kind of dance around um Match, where he would look at my profile and I would look at his profile, and then he would look at my profile, and so on and so forth. And then finally, and I was like, oh, he's really cute. So finally, he messaged me, and we had been talking for a while. And I think on the 13th of May, which I think was a Friday, I had to go pick up my kids. He was like, "Hey, let's do something." And I was like, "I can't. I'm all sweaty and gross and I'm at the gym." And I was trying to find any excuse I could to not meet up with him. And he's like, "Well, that's okay. Let's hang out after the gym." And I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna be sweaty." And he's like, "That's okay." So it's like, "No, I gotta go get my kids from Pueblo." And he was like, "Hey, come meet me at my house and we'll drive together." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do that." One, I was just super traumatized by the whole court thing because my kids were kidnapped um, in January of 2017. So just 4 months before, I was extremely traumatized from that. And so I was like, no, I can't do that. So he called me on the way to Pueblo to pick up my kids. And we talked the entire time. It was about a 45-minute drive there and a 45-minute drive back. So we talked the entire time going and coming back. And I was going to take my kids to the park. So he's like, "What are you doing now that you're back?" And I was like, "I'm taking my kids to the park." And, I thought that kids were a good deterrent. So I was like, he's not going to want to hang out now because I have got the kids. That was a lie. He was like, "Good, what park? We can hang out." So I gave in because we had talked for an hour and a half already on the phone. I had decided he wasn't a murderer. He was in the army, and, you know, uh, so we met up. And I always say that it was um, like God had come down and smacked me with like a million rocks in my face, or like this big brick, or like a lightning bolt or something. And when he was walking up to me and I first saw him, like I was like, I don't know what, I can't even explain it. I was like in this daze, and it was crazy and exciting, and like I had already known him, and it was just really weird. It was like a vortex of energy like washed over me, and I don't know if he felt it too. I know he had to have, because he's told me these conversations we've had are kind of crazy. But yeah. So yeah, and then we hung out at the park with my kids, and then we ended up going to his house and hanging out. Um Yeah, and then, like, the whole time we hung out, I think we hung out for the summer on and off because he had to go to, like, the National Training Center in California, or, he was at work or I was at work, or I had the kids and I didn't want the kids to become attached to him and then him just disappear. So I kind of tried to hang out with him when I didn't have my kids to make life easier for them. And so finally, on November 11th, which is 11/11, we actually kind of just stopped talking. And we had stopped talking before, and then we had talked. So it was like an on and off thing. But November 11th of 2020, 20, 20, I don't even know, 2017, had to have been 2017. We stopped talking for a good long while. And before when we started talking, I didn't know what twin flames were. I was so confused by everything. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. So I started Googling everything. I was like, what is this? What is this? Why is this happening? And I wasn't even on my healing journey at that time. I didn't know what was going on. The energy was weird. It was literally like we were in an energy vortex um, the whole time, the whole summer. And he lost my train of thought. um, so I started Googling what it was, and I ended up finding the twin flame journey online. And a lot of the things the twin flame journey said, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what's happening, what's going on. And so I started healing. I started looking into healing modalities. I wanted it all because I was confused. I was horribly, horribly, horribly in love. I had never, ever in love, obsessed. I don't know what to call it. I never, ever felt that way about anybody, and I never have again. Um, so I started healing and looking into all that. And I had actually been called on the spiritual path for all my life. I've been able to see like spirits in the dark or what's not there. Um, I had tarot cards when I was like 14, didn't know what I was doing with them, and ended up opening like a portal. And I've always been very, very well connected to the spiritual realm. I never wanted to be. It was very scary. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on. Um, so I started healing for him. I started healing myself and all my trauma for him so that we could be together, because in the twin flame journey, once you heal you can be together. And so we would talk on and off. I think the last time I talked to him was, I don't know, 2021 maybe. I don't know, I don't remember. I don't remember the last time. Anyway, um but nothing ever happened. Like, we would plan to get together because since he was in the army, he had moved elsewhere and nothing ever happened. There was no getting together like we planned. Um, I would spend money to go and see him, and the trip never materialized. So it was just a dead end. And so finally, I stopped healing for him and I started healing for me. And once I started healing for me, my whole life changed. Twin flame is not a journey um, of love and romance like it feels like you feel like you're in love with him. And I still love him to this day. If he ever like called me or contacted me, I'd be, more than happy to talk to him. I don't hate him at all. I don't feel any ill will towards him or anything. um, but I stopped healing for that connection and I started healing for me. I opened up doorways to become an author, to step into my sovereignty fully, and to learn how to love me for me and not for someone else. Um, he told me one time, he was like, "You don't have any self confidence. You need to work on that," or something like that. Or I told him I was working on it, or something like that. And since, and I think that was one of the last times I talked to him. Told him I didn't have any self confidence, and he was right. I hadn't been healing for myself that whole time, and now, with my first book, Sovereign, it was really a very big stepping stone in my journey to self confidence and to real self love. like beforehand, I always told myself, "Oh yeah, I love myself unconditionally. I, all the things." Twin flame is about learning how to love somebody, your twin flame, unconditionally, but really you have to learn to love yourself unconditionally before you can love anyone else unconditionally. That's what I think. Anyway, that's my journey. That's what I know to be true, especially because when I was in the thick of the loneliness and the obsession and the all the crazy and the yearning for him and the absolute agony that I was in, I would drop to my knees. There's a part in my book that I just got. I just got these today. They're very pretty. I love it. Journey through the soul to find a new beginning. There's a part in here where it says that I dropped to my knees, sobbing into my bed sheets. And I don't know where it's at. I found it the other day on Kindle. But there is a part in here where it says that I dropped to my knees, sobbing into my bed sheets with complete and total pain. And that was that was actually over him. It was such a horrible, soul shattering, heartbreaking journey that I literally fell to my knees and couldn't stand and just sobbed into my bed sheets. I don't know where it's at. It's in here somewhere. But so it says, I went on an incredible soul journey, one with myself and one that no one could outwardly see. I listened to that inner voice that was too tired, too small, and too weak. I healed that small creature who was broken, who was told that she was too needy, too much to handle, and not enough. I became too much, and I loved myself. I was too much perfection. My inner voice was too beautiful. My soul was too loved. My body was too lovely. The arch of my feet became sexy. The belly that had held 5 children became too powerful, able to give life. My innermost being became a sacred vessel that not just anybody could touch. I found my worthiness, and all those traits that everyone else liked to put down about me became my superpowers. When my aunt told me when I was 14, I looked better than you, this became my superpower. I was beautiful. My face was soft, round, and flawless ivory. When my mother told me I was hot to trot when I was your age, I was better than you. I found that my body held secrets that no one could touch. People only tear you down because they are threatened. But what the? By what though? I never did understand this. By the quiet inner strength? By the light I held within myself so tightly? I tried very hard to extinguish this light. This is what my twin flame journey taught me. My twin flame journey taught me how to love myself and to look within when I could no longer look without. I was no longer satisfied with living with daydreams and dreams of him at night and not not living in reality. I could no longer live in my dream world where he was here and I was happy. I had to go within myself and find the darkness of my soul, the pain, the agony, the loneliness, and I had to heal it for myself, not for him. He wasn't here. He didn't want to be here, obviously, and I had to heal for myself. I couldn't heal for anybody else. And that's what sent me on my journey here. So that's my journey and my story through Twin Flame. And I'm sure there's much more because it was years and years of obsession, I guess. I was. It was really weird. But that's my story through Twin Flame. Yeah. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me.